I think we are on. We are live. Welcome to Sunday Night Live from the wonderful people at the 9 Years podcast. My name's Aaron Paul. Delighted to be with you. Delighted to be with you after a win as well. After a big Wimbledon win yesterday, and just drama, pure drama. That's what this club is all about. Drama, taking you everywhere. Loads of roller coasters, twists, turns, pure emotion. And yeah, we're going to be talking all about it this evening. Joining me, Rob Boyce. How you doing, pal, Boyce? All right, lad?
I'm all good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad. And the man himself, the impresario. I'm not going to call you the podfather because my Millwall fans, Millwall pals, fans. Anyway, my Millwall people will probably kick off because everyone knows that Nick Hart from Mactamil is the podfather. But we'll call you like the pod uncle. How about that, Stuart Deacons?
I can deal with that. I don't upset the Millwall lads, do we, really, John? I can deal with that.
No one wants to do that. And, it gives me great pleasure. Now, Stu, I want to take you back sort of 24 hours. The conversation you had yesterday with me, AP, do you want to jump on Sunday Night Live? Yeah, I'll think about it. And then you told me who our guest was. Now, Stuart, we've known each other, 5-6 years now?
Yeah.
Can you just tell people what my sort of loving with this man is?
Oh, it's proper good, mate, to be fair. Do you know what I mean? I've been trying for a little while. But I wasn't going to get Bezo on for a feature-length podcast, but actually I thought, you know what, after a win at home and obviously with Nick Zanev, that penalty save, I thought, you know what, and then you messaged me, Aaron, and I was like, well, here we go. I'll ask. I'll ask nicely.
It's very rare that you get to talk to one of the loves of your life. And Ashley Bays is one of the loves of my life. I'm thinking of whacking up like a shrine in my house to her. Genuinely, the man he's a myth. He's a legend. He is unreal. Bezo, welcome to the show. I just need to let you know something. There's a fun fact.
Thank you very much.
When Stuart and his wife were expecting their son, I ran a campaign on radio for probably 4 or 5 months solid to call their son Bezo Deacons because I love you so much, because you are like my hero. I love Ash. Bezo's like my hero. So I just said, mate, call your son Bezo Deacons. Lorraine Stuart was with it. Stuart was down. He was down. Like Bezo Lyle Deacons. Yeah. Lorraine not so much. And so they opted with Thomas, which is a great name. Great name. He's a cool little lad. I mean, but everyone knows Bezo's a better name. Ashley Bays. It gives me great pleasure, enormous pleasure to talk to you and sit and pick your brains. How are you, pal? How are you? Recovered after yesterday?
Yeah, really good. Sunday's been really nice. Always nice after a win, and obviously, like you said, the emotions was unbelievable. But it's 3 points and a win for where we want to get to. So. Yeah, I'm buzzing, not going to lie. And obviously, at the end was just, you can't explain it. I can't explain how it felt.
I find it very different. Sitting in a stand, sitting at home, standing on a touchline. They're all different experiences. Standing on a touchline is a very unique footballing experience. Describe those 7 minutes to me.
From when we scored.
From just before we scored, to when we scored, to the celebrations, to, oh my God, it's a penalty, to describe that sort of 7 minutes for me, from your point on the sideline.
Yeah, well, to be fair, the calmest person on the bench is probably Robbo. Me and Rob Tuvey are quite, how would I say? Well, we worked the bench well, to be fair. I was getting a bit tense, as you can imagine. Rob drives it, and Robbo's the calmest person in the stadium. So, obviously leading up to it, the goal, delighted, scored from a set piece. So, Andy, who's our restarts coach, he'll be delighted with that. With Pigs scoring. And then with looking at the clock, I'm asking the fourth official, which was Dennis, because the linesman had gone down injured. So that all comes into it as well. He's telling me off for coming out the technical area, and I'm like, hold on a minute then. So then I'm looking at the clock in the far corner of the stadium. It's 86 minutes. And I'm like, right, okay, we've got 4 minutes to hold on. Next thing you know, ball goes up, penalty. For me, it's never a penalty. And then the the big man Tans produces a save that was just outstanding for me. Not just the save. There's a lot of work that goes into it behind the scenes. So that's Giancarlo Pinto and Tom Dawes, who does the analysis work at the football club. Tom does all the goalkeeping stuff. So he'll research opposition for me. And he does all the set pieces, anything dangerous, and penalties on every team that we play against. So, and then we sort of look through that, study it, and Tan's stuck to the game plan. If it ever happens, he gets the right way, and he deserves everything that came his way after the game. So
before we get into the save, I'll hold fire on the save. I think the big debate on social media is what was that penalty about? Did you watch that back? Have you guys spoken about it? What was the penalty for?
Well, they're saying that Luke O'Neill's fouled. I can't pronounce his name now. On their guy, and for me, I don't know what it was for. Their bench was stunned as well. To be fair, I think you could see by the reaction. And then we got back in after the game. We watched on the big screen again, and then I think Robbo's gone in as he is, and nice and calm, and spoke to the officials. And he's not one really for doing that. But we need them to review that. For me, it's never a penalty.
Talk to me about save them. From a goalkeeper's point of view, that's what it is. They're the moments you paid for.
Key moment. That's what you work for all week. What you work for day in, day out, for key moments like that. 95th minute, last kick of the game. I was confident he'd save it. I was just hoping he stuck to what he remembered, and he did. And it's a fantastic save. He's hit it well, and I was just ecstatic. I think if you saw me on the touchline, I've had loads of pictures sent to me. Obviously, you don't realise at the time. Just elation for everybody involved, because it meant a lot to win. Wasn't I'd say second half we were disappointed with how we performed. We've been performing so well. First half, I thought we were a lot better than them. And I think justice was done. Because for me it wasn't a penalty, but Tans produces a fantastic save. So all credit to him.
Stu's better on the internet than I am, but am I right in saying that Bezos is going to become a meme or something now? That sort of image of him launching is going to become some sort of GIF meme. A GIF will work, actually. I think it'll work.
Yeah, it was good though, to be fair, wasn't it? Because I was going to say to you, Bezos, Tans didn't have anything to do really, in terms of with his feet and obviously that side of it. But that's a crazy situation, isn't it? To literally be last minute penalty, and you've done nothing, see concentration and stuff. So people will look at the save and go, yeah, decent save, but there's a lot more involved in that, isn't there?
Yeah, well, he's kept his focus. He's not had a shot to save all game, like you say, Stu, and then to produce a save of that it's just the whole moment, the timing of it, what it meant. So to keep his focus and produce a save, he deserves it. Since he's come into the team, he's done really well. So I was delighted for him.
Yeah. And we said it before, though, and Aaron obviously will know, obviously going to football nowadays. It's an empty stadium. So there's nothing, do you know what I mean? It's dead, isn't it, in that stadium? So, you normally if there was a fans there, you put the player off and that sort of side of it. But I like I say, I've been fortunate enough to go to some games, but it feels like a training game. But that was a key moment, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? That was a key moment for him. And I was just saying, I thought he'd save it as well. He looked so big in that goal.
Yeah, well, he's a big guy. He feels the goal. He's a big guy. Big, tall, and agile. He gets across really well. But, if I don't know what I'd have done if the fans had been in there. I think I'd have been, I don't know what I'd have done. He would have been in the crowd because I'd have thrown him in the crowd. So I think I'd have been in there with everyone else, and you know what it means, and that's the thing. If the fans were there, like, oh my god, it'd have just been unbelievable. And
is there more pressure because it's empty? You can hear everything everyone's saying. You can hear people's thoughts in an empty ground. Is there more pressure on the keeper? Is there more pressure on the striker?
Yeah, I don't know really, because it's a strange situation. Like you say, you can hear everything. So I was careful. I knew where he was going. Like I say, we'd done our own work, and I was careful that I didn't say anything really, because there's no crowd there. So normally, if he looks over, we've got a little. I won't give too much away. We've got little triggers and little points that we do if they can't remember, or they, in that moment. But I'd say it's equal, the pressure on the striker and the goalkeeper, really, with no fans. If that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely does. Talk to me about Nick. I mean, the goalkeeping situation, it feels like there's been like a revolving door over the past sort of 5, 6 years where, you're more like sort of like a head of recruitment than like, a goalkeeping coach is like, oh, cool, we got a new keeper. Yeah, lovely, cool, new guy in. But you know what, Bozo? Every keeper that's come to you, you've made better. Every single goalkeeper. And I met a young goalkeeper who plays in women's football, who's a third choice now. She's 18 years old at a WSL club. And she was talking to me and going, from your point of view, how do I do things differently? And I said, mate, go on this geezer's channel, like go on the Wimbledon YouTube channel, go and search him and look at the training he does. Then listen to your Aaron Ramsdale's, look at Nathan Trott, look at George Long, and look at how these keepers have developed. And I mean, I wanted to talk to you about Nick. Nick has had such an interesting career so far, because he's getting to an age now where he should be an established number one at a club. Yeah. But it hasn't worked out for him. How important have you been coaching-wise, and how crucial was that loan last year at Sutton United? Because they love him there. I know a lot of Sutton fans, and they turn around and say he's the best goalkeeper to have played for them in their history.
Yeah, really. Well, yeah. Nick, he came in, I would say, probably 4 years ago now. We had a situation where Joe Bursick was leaving. We needed another goalkeeper. I've been given an agent, Tanz's agent, who I knew at the time, rang me and said, Bezo, I've got a goalkeeper, nothing in it. He just needs some training. He's coming back from, he was at Brentford. He used to be at Brentford.
Went to Wickham, didn't he?
Yeah, went to Wickham. I think he was at Brentford. He'd been scouting around clubs, and he just said he needs a bit of training. We give him the one-star, have a look at him, let me know where you think he is. He came in for 2 weeks, and I went, yeah. I got stuck into him straight away. I quite liked him, and I said to Ards, if Joe Bursick's going, this is a no-brainer. Like, we'll take Tanz as our under-23s, and it sort of went from there, really. My plan to do was get him out on loan a lot earlier than what he went, because he went to Sutton a bit later than probably what he should have done. He had a couple of loans before that. I think Potter's Bar, that was lower league, first loan. And then he went to Sutton last year. I got to see him 5-6 times play, and he was growing in confidence every game. He did really well there. And then he came back this season, and he's sort of found himself not in the team to start with. Came back after lockdown, challenging, pushing, and he's just never got a real proper run in the team. He's been in, he's been out, but the loan, going back to the loan at Sutton, was massive in his development. But I just wish we'd have been able to get him out before that. For him, really, he's like you say, he's at an age now where he needs to be a number one, and he needs to be playing. And he's now got his chance with us. And for me, he's took it with both hands since he came into the team, and he's just grown in confidence. And that's why yesterday the save, I was pleased for him more than anything, because the hours that he puts in on the training ground, the hours he puts in behind the scenes to make himself better, and he produced in a key moment for us yesterday.
You must feel like a proud dad seeing these keepers come through. You train them up, you work with them every day. You are with them a lot of time. There's a long time, and especially when you've got loanee keepers as well, who some of them are away from their families, they're away from their kids, their wives, their girlfriends, their partners, whatever it is. You are their family. Yeah,
well, it's not just on the, like you say, it's not just on the training ground. So it's off the pitch. like you say, family, girlfriends, away from home, where they staying, are they okay off the pitch? Probably their releases when they come to the training ground. You mentor them. I always find myself being a father figure to any goalkeeper that's come in. I care for them. So I care not just about the training, I care for them off the pitch. So all I want them to do when they come in, they don't have to worry about anything. They just get their head down. I demand that they give me everything on the training ground. And then when they go into a game, they cross that white line, just go and enjoy your game. There's no pressure. And that's all I ever ask of them.
Stewie, questions?
Rob, you got one?
Rob?
I said, Faisal, I've got a question for you. I was just wondering,
Hi, Rob.
how's it going? I was just wondering, you've been in your new role now for about a month under Robbo. Like, just wondering what's changed or how you're finding it working under Robbo and Rob Turvey at the moment, now that you've kind of got your feet.
How am I finding it? I'm absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it. Why? Everything's changed in terms of how the team play, how the goalkeeper plays. So everything I do now, how I train the goalkeepers, how I coach the goalkeepers, all the dynamics have changed, which for me is really challenging. I know I might sound like I'm repeating myself to other people, but the environment's different. There's an element of Robbo trusts me in what I do. I know what he wants from his goalkeepers, and every day I implement that. They don't just do it with me. I'm big on them. They go in with the team and they transfer the work we do on the training ground into the work they do with the team. So, absolutely loving it. Rob Tuvey's come in, done really well. The staff have really been good in the office, around the training ground, match days. It's the environment's good, really positive. I'm really enjoying it. It's given me another edge to my coaching. And I'm like a sponge. I want to get better. I want to learn all the time. And now Robbo's took over. He wants more from his goalkeepers. So that's like, obviously got to be good with your feet. So we do distribution every single day. We go out before the players. That's the first thing we do. We use that as our warm up before we even start our goalkeeping drills and goalkeeping sessions. And then obviously you've probably seen the goalkeeper's got to be playing a higher line. So when we go in with the team, I can get in behind them, start getting them up. And they're a key focal point of the team now. So it's giving the goalkeeper belief and giving the goalkeeper the trust and keep driving them.
Super. We've got quite a few questions coming in online. Let's go. Where are we? So Mark Hendricks, question is, Faisal, are you in touch with the New Zealand national team regarding Nick? It seems that he isn't missing many league matches due to not being called up. And would that, and obviously you sort of followed that up with all the work and results with all the goal. Sorry, now that is affect would it affect in the future if he does get called up for New Zealand?
Yeah, he has been called up before. I was in contact with the goalkeeping coach at the time, was Paul Gothard. So he was in constant contact with me. And I think he went a few years ago and it was in the off season. But since then, I've not really had any contact with them. So the answer to that would be no, but he definitely would be in their thoughts if he's playing first team football, I'd imagine. Yeah.
Something like Dominic Francis. How do you coach a goalkeeper that is making mistakes in games or has made mistakes in games? How mentally and what do you do with them?
Yeah, you just knocked it on the head there, Stu. Mentally. So we revisit. we always revisit games anyway. We click the games, we go through it, good, bad, positive, negative, get their thoughts, mistakes. I don't like to dwell on it too much, but we will go through it. Obviously, with the amount of games that are going so quick, it's relentless. So we'll revisit them, and then we try and replicate them scenarios on the training ground. I don't dwell on it too much, but we'll always revisit it. But I'll always revisit it in a session, and sometimes they won't even realise that we've done it, if you get what I mean. And then I'll go, "Oh, do you remember that?" Like, so it might be a simple thing on starting positions, from balls coming into your box from wide, balls coming into your box from sort of narrow, for argument's sake. So yeah, we always revisit it. Analysis work is key to it as well. And we often get training videoed. and then we can revisit in training and sort of give them the trust, give them the belief, give them the confidence. Go and do it again. Go and do it again. I'll never ever go at the goalkeepers if they're positive in their actions. So that's not just on the training ground. That'll be in matches. I'd rather you be positive and make a mistake than stay at home and don't do anything about it. That's when I'll go like, listen, come on, you've got to affect that.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Aaron, just before I go back to you, it's interesting. We were talking about goalkeepers, and you were talking about goalkeepers with their feet and stuff. I was watching this afternoon. It's just come from my YouTube feed. The late Ian St John had gone back to Melwood for Liverpool, and he was speaking to James Milner and he was now, but they were talking about goalkeepers, and he basically said a thing about modern goalkeepers. I don't know if I like modern goalkeepers because obviously in his era, they didn't do that. They didn't do feet, did they? Do you know what I mean? And stuff like that. How has that changed it for coaching wise for you?
Yeah, like I say, like we do it every day. So especially now, like Robbo wants to play. Focal point's the goalkeeper. He's your spare man. He's your extra man. Got to be brave enough to use him. Goalkeeper's got to make angles. He's got to be positive. He's got to be confident. He's got to be brave. So we do it. We do it every day. We do it every day. It might be 15 minutes. It might be 25 minutes, depending on when we can do it, timing of the week. But we try and get out every morning, and we'll do distribution, all types of distribution. So it has changed. So everyone calls it the modern day goalkeeper, but for me, you've got to be able to play with your feet, right foot, left foot. When I played, I only had a right foot. Use my left one for standing as I tell the keepers.
I was going to say, actually, that's one of the things I noticed with Matt Cox when I watched the FA Youth Cup. His range of passing, he didn't have a lot to do, but he was pinging the ball around better than some outfield players I've seen before. And his range of passing is superb. What's the plan for his future development? Is it to get him out on loan next season potentially?
Yeah, Coxie, fantastic young goalkeeper. He's now on number 2, 17. That's the plan. Get him out on loan, get him playing men's football, and then we'll go from there really. But the sooner he can play, we've had it lined up for a while, but the COVID has put a stop to it really. So we did have a few lined up for him, but yeah, very very much so. He's definitely one for the future, if not now. He's very good. His strength would be, like you say, his distribution. He could be an outfielder. Phenomenal.
Beza, you know how the role of the manager has changed into the sort of a head coach now, where the element of actual coaching is sort of more needed than general management. Has the role of a goalkeeping coach changed? I mean, I look at, I don't want to name any names because it's unfair, but the role of the old, slightly portly goalkeeping coach going out on a Saturday, booting
a few balls. Yeah.
I mean, there was one that used to famously play for Sheffield Wednesday, who was a goalkeeping coach at a club in South London. We won't talk about him, but
KP, yeah.
Seeing him warm up Jordan Archer, you're like, geez, this is a recipe for disaster. It was not good. How has your role changed over since you were a player and you were with the old school coaches?
Yeah, very very much so. I'm always evolving. I'm always looking to try new ideas. But you're not just a goalkeeping coach. You're more than a goalkeeping coach. You're involved in what I am. I'm involved in a lot of things, including set plays. Probably more defensively and attackingly. But I'm like I call it like I always say I'm a sponge really. The shape of the team, so the back 4, the back 8, depending on how he's set up. I get involved in everything. Robbo likes me involved in everything as well. He's very much like, if I see things from the bench, voice it, have an opinion when it's right. So yeah, it's not just go in the corner, and I'm big on not being isolated as well. No, it's not like go over in the corner, as I used to call it. You don't go over. Like when I played, it's not about me, but I used to call it like you get thrown over in compost corner. Have your 20 minutes, half an hour, over you come, goalies, and then you just get battered. Like it's totally changed. So and it's changing all the time. It's evolving all the time.
I spoke to someone again. I wish I could name names. I'll tell you after. but I spoke to a very, very, very high-profile former goalkeeping coach back in the last season about a goalkeeper in the Premier League who
probably know.
I'm not going to name names, but you probably guess who it is. Who was probably the best in his position in the world for 7, 8, 9 years, and has slightly tailed off. He plays for a club up north. He's currently being challenged by an English goalkeeper. I think you know who it is. But I spoke to his former goalkeeping coach about why. You know, because my attitude towards goalkeeping is he's a human. He is a human. Yeah. And your reflexes are going to get slower. Their, you know, decision making is going to be just that little, maybe millisecond to a second slower. Things are going to change as you get older. And that former goalkeeping coach disagreed with me. He said that because that goalkeeper wasn't being challenged day in, day out in training, he was becoming slower. Would you agree with that?
100%. I'd agree with that. Yeah, you've got to challenge the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper's got to be challenged every day. And I totally agree with that. I mean, it's probably Eric Steele you're talking about. You don't have to say, but yeah.
I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
Yeah, Steely, good guy. You've got in the group. I'm big with the group. It's very much like everyone's got to push everyone. It's like we've got Coxie and we've got Tans and we've got Coxie. Tans knows he has to be on the button because he knows he's got Coxie breathing down his neck. And we've also got Zaki Ulua who comes in and helps. He pushes the other two. There's a good dynamic to the group. Every day I demand it anyway. And if they're not on it, I'm on them. So I want them pushing and challenge. And if you're the number one, the number two, I don't like to call them number ones, number twos, number threes. You're all number ones in my eyes. You might be playing the other one, and then the other one supports, and the other one supports. We all support each other. So whoever gets the nod, you've got to be on your game because the other two are ready to step in. And that's what I had to do with Tans. And he had a process of, he played a few games before he got in. Fortunately, Walks got injured. And he came in and he had a game at Eastbourne when we played. We put Coxie on the bench. It was properly organised. Me and Robbo had a good discussion about it. We needed Tans playing. We couldn't get him out on loan because he sat on the bench, but he needed game time. So we were brave enough to put Coxie on the bench. Tans goes to Eastbourne. I said, I think he needs another game before we can sort of, you know, anyway, goes to Cambridge, does excellent. And then I watched it back. And then my old Walks unfortunately gets injured. Tans steps in, but he was ready. So does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got to be ready at any time. You've got to be ready. You've got to train day in, day out. Last training session and your last game.
It's just interesting, you know, obviously keepers being challenged, it keeps them motivated, you know, and I watch your training sessions, they're fascinating. And I just think, you know, you're the kind of guy who would be able to go down to like a recycling centre, pick up all these bits and pieces, need something together and bang, you've got like a tool or a device. It's like you've got that mat where, you know, the ball ricochets off it and goes there. And I'm just like, it's like a slip and slide for when we used to get pissed at university, you know, like you just go down it and there it goes. But, you know, that makes it interesting. And I look at, you know, it and I'll be honest with you. I know, look, I'm sort of blinded by my love for you, but, you know, I genuinely think you are the most progressive goalkeeper coach in the Football League. There's no one else like you like that out there like you know, because if you look at the way you've constantly developed goalkeepers, and I maintain it, no goalkeepers come to you and got worse. Maybe one of them, but we won't talk about him. But, you know, it's unreal how you bring this energy and life and sort of vibrancy. And I think Zach has asked a question. Zach from America, I think it is, has asked a question, said, with all your work and results with former keepers, how many higher level club offers have you turned down and what keeps you at Wimbledon? I think that's a fascinating question.
It is a fascinating question. Obviously, I'm ambitious, don't get me wrong. And yeah, I have people ask me, and you know, everyone knows what Wimbledon means to me. I'm very ambitious. I do want to work at the top, and I do want to challenge myself. But at the same time, I'm at Wimbledon, and I'm doing my job at Wimbledon because I love it, and I love the challenge, and I love developing the goalkeepers. And my biggest challenge, and I've said it before, is to get my own goalkeeper through the system and into the first team. And I will do that given the time. And I know I'm repeating myself over and over, and I've been close on a couple of occasions. Let me tell you, if I'm given the time, I will do that. So in terms of have I been approached? Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I have. Is it right? If it's Championship, Premier League, obviously, of course, I'm going to be interested. But again, it has to fit, it has to work. Nothing to please me more when I did it with Wimbledon. So, you know, why I'm getting the satisfaction of I've got to be honest, I just love what I do. I love everything about goalkeeping. From walking into the training ground at 7, 8 o'clock every morning to leaving at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And even then, I travel 2 hours every day. Because I live in Hertfordshire, and I'll get on the train and I'm constantly thinking and looking, how can I improve Wimbledon goalkeepers? And I'll get my goalkeeper into the first team. That's my biggest challenge. And when I do, get me back on here, and I'll tell you, I told you so.
I was going to say,
if that answers your question, yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not in a comfort zone. If I was in a comfort zone, I wouldn't be here now. I've gone through 3 or 4 different managers, all with different styles, all with different needs. I've adapted to them all. For me as a coach, that's great. And now I'm with Robbo, and I'm adapting again, and I'm getting challenged again every single day, and I'm loving it. So don't ever think I'm Wimbledon and I'm comfortable. I'm never ever going to be comfortable. The day I'm comfortable will be the day that I have to, you know what I mean? I won't, but
I love this, man.
Well, Aaron, I was going to say, do you know what? There's a question come here, but you know, we talk about goalkeepers who obviously we know the goalkeeper you were talking about. When Steve Grusevich was down at Kings Meadow the other season, and I was like, I loved Steve Grusevich. When I first went to Wimbledon, Bezo, my favourite goalkeeper was Sagers. Like Hans Sagers was right. He was the one that got me going back to football.
Yeah,
because he was just a fruitcake, absolute fruitcake.
Brilliant, love it.
And my wife got me a signed picture from Seegers, and he was the person that got back to Wimbledon. I just thought there was everything about him. But Steve Grusevich, when he come back, I can't think who was that. Was he at Coventry? Yeah. And I remember thinking, how the hell is he still kicking the football? But I was proper I was like in awe.
Well, but that's another thing. So you got to keep yourself fit. So I pride myself on looking after myself, because you're hitting, I don't know how many footballs you must hit 150 footballs a day. But I'm big on that. Keep myself fit, pride myself on being fit, so that I can't be overweight and not being able to move. And I'm telling my goalkeepers, you've got to be this, and this. If I can't do it,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree.
So Grezovich, I mean, what a guy. I remember that because he came in the office at Kings Meadow and I had a chat with him, and I'm like in awe of him, sort of thing, like big Oggy.
Well, everyone looks up at him, don't they? I mean, he's
a big
very
guy.
tall.
Well, when I first started going, he used to do. We used to call him Jane Fonda. So he used to run along the line and do star jumps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And people would go like the ultimate goalkeeper, and they would do that with him, and he would just play along. Do you know what I mean? And never got any abuse because he played along with the fans. And I used to love that sort of side of it. Interesting thing was Mark Hendricks again. He's just on Nathan Trott, according to Stu, would fly through the air. I always thought he looked like Superman when he flew through it. He literally, when he dived, he had such a spring.
Yeah.
So Mark's going, who is your favourite superhero?
Mine.
Mark's got a random question. Now his brain thinks.
Well, who's my Superman?
But he had a spring and a half, didn't he, Nathan?
Yeah,
Trott?
he had Trott. It's funny you say about Hans Sagers. He called me a month ago. Never spoke to him. Rang me up. He was asking me about Trotty. To be fair, he's out in Holland, isn't he, with Martin Yole? And he was just asking me about Trotty. I think they were looking to take him there out on loan. But Trotty had unbelievable spring, natural spring. It was a joke. so laid back for the lad.
I mean, I always look at Nathan Trott and I think, mate, 7 stone wet through. Like, he is really small for a keeper.
Yeah,
very, very small.
Yeah, he wasn't the most imposing goalkeeper, but quick, rapid, natural ability, agility wise, had unbelievable spring. He was a good guy. Yeah, he was another good guy, good lad.
I mean, keeper roulette is something. Well, I call it every season, but it is keeper roulette. You know, you go back and you think about it. I mean, James Shea was the last keeper you think about with sort of the longest stretch, if you like.
Jimbo.
But the keepers that you've gone through are unreal. The numbers are crazy. What sort of impact do you have on that process? On a case of, right, we're going to go for him on loan and we're going to go for X, Y, Z.
I'm not involved. There's a few I haven't been involved in, but that's another story. But most of them, yeah, I've and even if I haven't sort of been involved with them, come in the door, I'll coach them. I'm confident I'll make them better. That's my process. But yeah, most of them I'm involved with them. You know, so go for everything. Obviously, you go with you. Obviously, you find out what they're like as a character, personality. Do they live at home? Do they got their own place? Are they married? Do they have kids? You know, and then you speak to the goalkeeping coaches that they work with at their clubs. What do you think about this? They tell me this. They'll tell me their weaknesses, what they need to do better at. You know, and it goes from there. Then previous managers who've had them, and so on. But I've basically probably had most of the goalkeepers on loan have been first loans, so that's a challenge on its own. You know, they either work or they don't work. So, like I say, I care for them. I genuinely care for them, and that's keeping in touch with them. I might drive them mad. I said to you, I might drive you mad, ringing you and texting you every other day. But that's me, and you know. And I said, if it's too much for you, please tell me. I can come away. I'm adaptable. So but it's not always through choice. When Hodge was manager, we were looking to bring in a permanent goalkeeper. And then with everything and finances, that stopped that. But we were confident we would have brought a permanent in. And then we had the finances. So we went for the loan, brought Connell in. And then Connell went back and we brought Walks in. So, but yeah, we've had some good ones. Funny enough, Rambo texted me this morning about Tansy's safe. In fact, all the goalkeepers who I worked with did. Longy, Shazer, Rambo. Yeah, it's good. All about Tans. So he's worked with them. Them lads who've come on loan, he's worked with them. Now they're seeing him play. That's the bond. People don't see the
union,
bond that you have. It's the union.
The keeper's union. I mean, it's such a myth, but it's true, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. Everyone. It has to be special. You're working with each other every single day. You know, and there'll be days where they come in and that's my job then to make sure they're on it. I mean, they'd never know if I'm having a down day. Not that happens very often, but they'd never know, because that's my job. When I walk onto the grass and everything I've got, and all I ask back is, you give me everything you've got. And they do. And if they don't, they know about it. but they do. Every goalkeeper I've had.
You know, when Rambo joined, I remember it very well, see, before the Fleetwood game. And I remember thinking, who's this goalkeeper? As you do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, he looked, to me, just looked a bit timid and stuff like that. Played the Fleetwood game. And before long, you were like, wow, we have got a hell of a keeper on our hands.
Yeah, we tried to sign him before that. We tried to sign him before when Ards was in charge. And he broke his thumb. So that put a bosh to that. So when Wally and Hodge came in, they was sort of I think we had Kingy at the time, and then Macca was in the team, and they said about Rambo, and I said, yeah, he's one on my list. I said, I've already done all the stuff on him, reports, footage. I know everything about him. Knew Neil Moss at Bournemouth and Anthony White, and you know, and he said, right, we'll get him in, and we you know, and we pushed that, and we got him in. So yeah, they sort of they earmarked him as well. So I was buzzing when they mentioned Rambo as soon as they walked in. They said about Rambo, and I was like, oh yeah, all day long, like. But again, he'd had a loan at Chesterfield. It was a up and down loan, but that was his first loan. So he was coming to us on his second loan. And we just bonded straight away. Bonded. Biggest compliment I'll pay Rambo is he came as a boy and left as a man.
Because he was loved, wasn't he? He was loved in terms of that.
Sorry, Stu, go on. Go on.
I was going to say, to me, he was more than a goalkeeper. In terms of that season, he got the fans, the fans loved him very quickly, communicated. He was very good with the team. You sense that, not him alone, but he drove that. He didn't want to get relegated. That he didn't want that on his CV at the time, of course. But yeah, he was instrumental, wasn't he? I just thought, as a goalkeeper, he was a hell of a one to follow. Whoever followed Rambo was in trouble.
Yeah,
let's be fair.
That's it. Yeah, that was the thing. I mean, he come in after. I mean, we had Longy, who for me was tops. Kells, obviously, Longy came in. Whoever followed Longy, and we have a Kingy, and then Rambo came in, and fantastic personality, fantastic character, great around the place, great in the dressing room. He was a leader, and the things that you had to manage him. Obviously, he's a young boy, so but again, there was a big trust there. Bournemouth trusted me to be able to manage him on and off the pitch. Rambo trusted me as well, and it went from there really. And he was performing, and he was getting better and better, and he was loving it. And the big thing I said when he came in, I said, "You've been in the building 45 minutes. We're travelling up to Fleetwood. First thing I said, FA Cup, Fleetwood away. We'll get the result. Get down to the fans, embrace it. Throw your gloves in the crowd. They'll love you." And that's what I tell every goalkeeper that comes in the door. And interact with the fans, because they'll love it. They love goalkeepers at his football club. And I said, and you'll do that. And it just went from there really. And he grew and grew, and everything else. But he was that every single day. He goes, "Can't go down, Beza. Can't go down. I can't have it. I can't go down. Can't go down." And he bought into Wimbledon so much. Got a flat round the corner and everything. He bought into it. And he follows it now, and he'll text you, and like this morning, text me, what to say from Tans, and he'd text me the picture of me, like, sort of thing. So he knows what it means, as does all the other goalkeepers, Longy, Shazer, the list goes on really.
Did Rambo surprise you in terms of how good he was? I mean, I went to Oxford away and Luton away, and I think I'd say that Luton was one of the best I've seen. Yeah, did he surprise you just how good he is? I mean, obviously he went to Sheffield United for 20-odd million pounds.
Yeah, no. He was a young lad, so I knew like if the biggest thing was if he made a mistake, which he didn't make a lot. It was how you managed him. He was very good, like, on watching his stuff back. But we'd put it to bed pretty quick, and he'd move on. He was a game player though. He was like he knew when it come to a game, he was bang on it. Like, I mean, some days he'd come in and go, say, "Hey, feeling today?" Go, and then we'd do something different, light session. Like we'd do something totally random, and then but I always knew on a Saturday or Tuesday or Saturday he'd perform like. Did he surprise me? No, because I used to see it every day. He was transferring his stuff you see on the training ground into his games, and then once he got a run of games, I think he was 2 or 3 games in, and I was going like, and then we'd work, and I'd start drip feeding him, getting him braver on crosses, a bit more aggressive on his crosses, and so on, which he wasn't used to coming from Bournemouth sort of thing. So in League 1, League 2, it's a lot more physical. So did it surprise me? No.
Fair enough.
Aaron, just very quickly, sorry, I'll let you go.
Yeah, go on.
Just because I know, obviously, the interaction you have with the fans is madness. I absolutely love it. How has that affected you? Because you've got me thinking about, you want to get the fans on your side and that. How has that affected you personally? Yeah. Because I know that you feed off the crowd, and has that been difficult for you this season?
Yeah, I have. I'm not going to lie. Like, I found it hard to start with. Then I had to. So, coach, I had to take away. I couldn't let the keepers know that, if you know what I mean. My focus was, right, I've got to make sure the goalkeepers are, because there's no crowd, they feed off the crowd. You don't really need to say much, and so on, really. But I used to bounce off the crowd, and then they'd see it and it relaxed them. So I'm pretty much like, when we go out for a warm up, we have a routine and a warm up, and we sort of they've had all the detail. When we do the warm up, it's not a workout. The warm up's just to go out. Normally, the warm ups that get out, feel the crowd, feel the atmosphere, just get your eye in, ready to go. And we've not had that. So I've just been conscious when it first started that they're not in the nicest possible way, not in a pre-season mode, friendly mode. That would probably be the big thing. And just sort of, like when I drive into Plough Lane now, I try and visualize when I'm driving into Plough Lane about getting in the minute's all right. Well, it is unless there's roadworks outside. But when the fans are back, and I'm like picturing fans coming in and down the streets, and it's going to be unbelievable. And like the excitement of that, just like it's going to be. I'm stating the obvious here, but and I try and visualize that every time I drive to Plough Lane, and it's going to be hell of a day when everyone's allowed in. It's going to be hell of a day. So, answer to your question regarding that, I was very, very conscious of that the keepers weren't too relaxed, and that's why I used to take. Well, I do now. Like he's now one of our goalkeepers in the first team squad. I used to try and take one of the young goalies out for the warm up to let them get a feel for the crowd, just as an experience on match days. I was conscious of it.
I wanted to actually ask, with younger keepers, you were talking about Aaron Ramsdale becoming braver then. The physicality of the lower sort of echelons of League One, League Two is such an important thing. Do you think it's important for a goalkeeper from Premier League Championship to effectively do like a YTS, getting beaten up in League One, League Two?
Beaten up. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
You see some of the...
Yeah.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you have Bayo Akinfenwa, steaming towards you...
Well, I used to do crossing session. I used to say to Bayo, just stand in there for us. Get all the... No, I did. For
that's
the right
cruel,
reason.
but that's cruel, Bezo.
Just stand there, Bayo. Just stand there. You're a lot bigger. Mind you, he's trimmed down a lot now. But just go in there and just sort of cause chaos and mayhem, because it trained their mind. Then, if you can claim crosses coming through Bayo, you're gonna claim crosses through anyone. So I'm big on that. Go out, find your feet, make your mistakes. How do you recover? And experience men's football.
It's important. Interesting question I found here from Dominic. So talking about Hans Sagers and how he had a side business selling ties. Your former colleague at Stevenage, Chris Day, owned a pub, didn't he?
Yeah, Daisy, Cookie Billet.
He had a pub in Stevenage.
Yeah.
So what's the best side gig or business venture you've heard a player having?
It's a great question.
Great question. World class.
Probably. Oh my God, you've stung me there. I'll revisit that in a minute. I'll have to think.
I never knew Seegers had a tie business like that. Surprised
me. So
me.
did Dave Mackay. Dave Mackay this was sort of 60s and 70s.
Yeah,
Dave Mackay when Derby signed him.
Well, I've often myself thought about it's boring. Like again, just love goalkeeping. He's doing my own glove and doing it, but the market and the competitiveness is just unbelievable. So I never went down that route. And in fact, me and Daisy discussed this together. We were going to do it together. But in terms of...
You must know Richard Lee.
I know Dickie, yeah.
Everyone knows Dickie Lee. He loves a business. Dickie Lee he loves a business. Caps. Mate, I remember when he used to sell coffee.
Yeah.
He used to sell coffee.
Yeah.
He was crazy. Ben Foster will open a bike shop.
Sarkin GK.
He'll open up a bike shop or something like that.
I was just going to say Ben Foster. I watch his YouTube channel thing that he does. I love it.
Yeah.
Sorry, my cat decided
to. Come on, boys.
It was interesting what he was saying about gloves, actually. He was saying, like, when he trains or he likes to have, like, a worn gloves. Is there sort of superstition with that? And what... Obviously, if it's a new glove, obviously it's going to be pristine, is it? Was that, the goalkeeper was like that, a bit superstitious or like a bit warning?
Well, I can only go off, like, how the goalies are. I mean, I used to I'd like to knock mine in for a session before I'd wore them on a match day. But someone like, Longy wore a brand new pair every game. George Long, for instance. I used to wear mine every 4 or 5, but then if I'm on a run, I'd wear them until they're falling apart. So when you talk in terms of superstition, they've all got their own ways, like in terms of the gloves, because they're so soft and that, and the brands and the different brands and that. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Like I'm a bit of a glove guru, to be fair, collecting.
Are you old school as well, though? Like, like I laugh now at goalkeepers or players who wearing boots. Like when I was younger playing five-a-side, my mate had a pair of yellow boots, and I'm like, mate, you're gonna get taken out because you look like you're cocky or flash and stuff like that. Are you old school in that? Would you have a problem with people, wearing flashy gloves or stuff like that?
As long as not at all. No, it doesn't because I do it now. I've got blue ones, so I wear blue ones. I wear black ones. Anything that's comfortable, really. As long as they're producing, they're doing the business. It doesn't worry me too much.
They go their fashionable items now, aren't they?
Yeah.
I remember.
I don't think
2000s. Go on.
I don't think you get me wearing pink and orange and
anything
like that.
Styles, because the mid 2000s, it was all about the chunky sort of gun cut glove. Like everyone wearing them. Yeah. And then now I looked at Robert Sanchez at Brighton. There was an article about him and his rights, and he's wearing a glove. He looks like he's about to play golf. The glove, it's by Nike. It literally looks like a
the white and black one.
Yeah, I was looking at it like, mate. Yeah. Get me a proper, one with spines in it. Yeah, that's what you want.
I'm with a glove company called One Glove Company, and they've just brought a new glove out, and it's got a strap, but you take the strap off, and it's the new model. Like there's no strap. It's just like, I call them marigolds. Is it just literally like it's on, and it's like up to there on your wrist, like. It's phenomenal. Like the amount of gloves that are on the market is stunning. But it's crazy.
Dominic followed up and said there was a random advertising board at Selhurst that said Hand Sager's ties.
Really?
Wow.
Fair enough. Richard Lee went on Dragon's Den. He did actually go on Dragon's Den. Simon's got a great question for you, Bezo. Hi, Bezo. Thanks for your time tonight. As a kid, did you have a Shoot Match magazine poster of a keeper on your wall? And if so, who was the keeper?
I did indeed, Peter Shilton.
Oh, great.
Whoa, that's a good one.
Great choice. Who else did you look up to? Obviously, as a player, look, you had a real varied career. You sort of like, how you went from Lincoln to Brentford to Devon, I will never know. But, crazy journey.
Yeah.
But that was a real interesting career.
Yeah. Who do you look up to? Shilton, Clements, Neb Southwell. And then it came, I had the pleasure of working with him as well, Neb Southwell. And then Peter Schmeichel, as he was coming through. So they would have been the keepers at the time, sort of thing, when I was playing. I
love Peter Shilton, to be fair, and he played Wimbledon. He was on loan for a game.
Yeah,
I think at Anfield, if I remember properly.
Yeah.
Because one of the first games I saw was England game at Wembley, and Peter Shilton was there. And Peter Shilton always interested me in terms of how he extended his arms. That sort of story of sort of people hanging on him from the crossbars and that.
He fantastic shot stopper. Him, and then I read the autobiography of John Burridge. Remember John Burridge?
Oh, the crazy. The warm up he used to do, didn't the warm up he used to do? Yeah, ridiculous.
Fantastic. People like that, like, you take little bits from all of them, but I always have my own identity. Like,
there's real one-offs. You think about some of the keepers that have sort of been through this country, some of the forgotten ones as well. I was watching a video the other day. Michael Oakes, what a goalkeeper he was.
Yeah. I think Michael Oakes, he does the keepers at Wrexham now. Coaches keepers.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Nigel Martin was a fabulous goalkeeper. Tim Flowers was a fabulous goalkeeper. There's a real buzz,
Tim Flowers, yeah.
Flowers was a class act. And I'm
good, didn't he?
Yeah. Then Letizia done him, didn't he, at Blackburn? That was hilarious when I think knocked him about 30 yards.
Everyone has an off day, Stu. Everyone has an off day, pal. Yeah, I mean, Stu, any other questions for Sir Ashley Bays?
No, John, we really appreciate, obviously, we've been an hour. Really appreciate the time with us. We've had loads of questions, absolutely loads of questions.
Because you're so loved, Bezos. It's because you are so loved. I just got to say, your energy and zest for life is unreal, mate. Unreal. I've had the privilege of standing at Kingsmeadow sometimes, and I'm early because I'm pressed, and just hearing you just screaming, and I'm like, yeah, that's good. It's brilliant, mate. It's brilliant. I wish everyone could have the same energy for life that you do.
I'd like to say, I mean, I've been in the game 30 years now, and that's all I've done. Like, that's all I've done. So I've gone from playing to transitioning into coaching, and I never got to the top as a player, but I want to get to the top as a coach, and hopefully one day that's with Wimbledon. So yeah, I just love what I do. Love it, day in, day out. Eat, sleep, drink it. Probably drive people mad. People
crazy
love
at home?
me.
At home, are you as energetic at home as you are?
Yeah, well, my family's energetic. I've got a wife and 2 daughters, so they're just as lively as me. So yeah, we got a lively house. You could come and spend a day at Bezos' household. You'll know why I'm so lively.
Happily do it. Anytime. Anytime I'm
get in
there.
the garden, bring the gloves, bring the boots.
Mate, any time I'll be there. Trust me.
I think it's one of the things I missed the most at Plough Lane games. Like, I get in there early because my father-in-law was in the sable section, but I happily get in there early just because I love it when you come. I think it's just that energy. I think sometimes, like if you've got a dodgy game, I don't know, and the energy comes off you in that sort of side of it, and I think that's good.
Well, you work all week for the match day, and when I used to, when I was still playing and coaching, I used to take it really personal, and this is like, I used to take it. Don't get me wrong, I take it personal, but I used to take it really personal. The goalkeeper made a mistake, and I'd get anxious, and I'm calm. As much as I say, I'm calmer now, and I'm more experienced. So, if they make a mistake, it's going to happen. They're human, and they'll know. I always make sure when the goalkeepers walk off the pitch at halftime, at the end of the game, I'll always greet them with a smile and a handshake or a fist punch, just to let them know. Listen, don't worry about anything, or you're doing great. Keep it going. So it's just they know. I always make a conscious effort to do that. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like I am what I am. Some people like it, some people might not, but that's the way I am, and I won't change. And long may it continue.
Never change, Bozo. Never change, mate. Never ever change. Stu, any other business, pal?
No. We'll let Ashley go. Enjoy his Sunday evening.
Brilliant, guys. Listen, can I just say thank you so much for having me on. Really enjoyed it.
Loved it.
If I want to do it again, just give me a shout, and we'll revisit a few more things. But thanks for having me, guys.
We look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Bozo.
Yeah. Take care. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
On Sunday Night Live. Thank you. I mean, that's unreal, really, Stu. I mean,
we had so many questions. Like there's some there's some we didn't get a chance to go through. So we'll save them. We'll definitely get. Do you know what? We get Basil on with a goalkeeper as well. That'd be quite an interesting one, wouldn't it? on that side.
I mean, what a guy. The energy is unreal. And I'd say, I get the chance to watch a lot of goalkeeping coaches, and some of them are crap. You just see him, just like booting a ball about. And
when you said it, I was like, yeah, I get that.
It's true though. The amount of keeping coaches you look at the warm up and you're like, oh, this is shit. Or, there's very few in the Football League who are as energetic, as dedicated, as vibrant as him. And I think the record speaks for itself. The fact that he is consistently improving goalkeepers, the guy is such a crucial asset to this club. And you look at it, you see managerial changes happen left, right, and centre, day after day. And often the coaching teams are expunged with him. He's a constant. He's been a constant for 6-7 years. And there's a reason why. It's because he's class at what he does. And people, I remember, reading what Aaron Ramsdale said when he joined. The goalkeeping coach is a nutter like me, so we're going to get on. Say no more.
Do you know what's interesting? Actually, you can sense that he really wants to get a goalkeeper through, and not to put words in his mouth, but I think Coxey could be the one that he would want to get in.
This is the chance.
Yeah, because with the goalkeepers we've lost, Bursic and Mannion and stuff like that, it's been criminal. So yeah, you could tell from what he was saying. But that's why I asked the question about it, because he feeds off the fans. Like, you've been at Kingsmeadow early. He's absolutely hilarious.
Brilliant.
And I miss that. I think it's because it's that routine. That's the same routine, and I can imagine how much bigger and better it will be. Like Bezo with like a couple of thousand in the ground is dangerous. Like with a full house, what is he going to be like? The energy he's going to get off those, I don't know, mate. It's it's going to be funny in that way, isn't it?
The love of my life, Stu. The love of my life. I'll get a dog and call it Bezo. That's what I'm saying.
So look at Jane Lonsdale. Not a question, just whoosh. But it is.
There's a fundraiser. I reckon that Bezo should do a calendar, like Calendar Girl style. Just like Bezo in interesting positions. Just after himself. So why not? Let's have an Ashley Bays calendar.
I think he should have his own reality TV show.
Maybe I'm.
Can you imagine the amount of energy in that house that he said?
At home with the Bayses.
You could picture it, can you?
Class. Keeping up with the Bezos. Very, very, very good. Any other business, Stu, for this week's show, pal?
No, do you know what? I think, obviously, we've been on for about an hour and 10, and I think that's been a really... Yeah, I'm tired after that. Because, I was just... I think I like goalkeepers anyway. So, I think it's that goalkeepers are the last line of defence, aren't they? And you've got to be a nutcase to be a goalkeeper. And that's where... I did want to ask him, and I probably will ask him next time, is what... because I know he loved his bit of kit he got in the goalkeepers. You were talking about the sponge, the wall and stuff like that. Yeah. But he's also got that thing, like a tennis ball sort of launch thing, isn't it? The tennis players use.
The cannon.
Yeah. And I think there's a speed thing on that. I just wonder what is next, what he wants. Do you know what I mean? I was just thinking, what do you want next? And I might ask him next time, because he loves his gadget. But I would just turn that on full blast. I would actually just turn it on full blast.
Pelting people with
I don't know what speed it goes up to.
Unreal. It's dangerous. You see, like tennis players using them, don't they? They use them sort of return serve and stuff. But that would be like, imagine. Oh, I can't even think about it. There you go. Enjoy the win. That's the main thing from this weekend. The main thing to take away from this weekend is enjoy the win. Let me tell you, I was at London Road yesterday trying to keep up with their tally of goals, but nothing made me happier when I found out the situation at the end of the game. It was unreal, really, really unreal, and very, very much needed. So well done to Robbo and the team, and well done to Nick Zanev as well. It's been a long time coming, Nick, and hopefully this is the start of something absolutely brilliant, and hopefully it's the start. It might be the turning point. Who knows? It feels like a massive turning point. It feels like the moment, So yeah, fingers crossed it is a big Easter weekend en route, chaps.
Yeah, 10 games to go. Obviously, your mate now down at 72 plus with Lowy.
Yep.
So they're a bit hit and miss at the moment, aren't they? So let's just hope it's... we got a good record down at Plymouth, to be fair. So, and then Fleetwood. But then, Fleetwood and Joey Barton, just very quickly, Joey Barton's just going like a fruitcake, isn't he? 10 games now? He's lost 7 of them.
At Bristol Rovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I haven't seen it, but I think on social media or his interviews have been quite interesting.
Vociferous is the word.
Yeah, do you know what? If I'm a betting man, I don't think he'll be there next season. I don't think it's taken off as much as they wanted it down there. Do you know what I mean? But it's good.
Funny old club, Bristol Rovers. It's a funny old club in terms of what the owner wants and the project the owner has compared to what manager can.
And that ground, and do you know what? That ground does make a difference when it's not got fans in. Like that's a real, if anyone's been down at Bristol Rovers, they do get behind their team, and I think it's made a massive difference on that side of it. But I think
you probably haven't missed the marquee end, have you? I'm guessing.
No, my wife loves that end. She left. Did I tell you the story that she left at half time because she was getting wet? It's hilarious. It was absolutely chucking it down. So we had a seat in the marquee end, but we had a seat on the end, and the bit above us, the marquee, had a gap. and it was absolutely chucking. It was absolutely chucking it down. And she left at half time. Left at half time. She's looking at me now, scowling. She left at half time, and then she got the car for me and literally parked outside the way for me so we get a getaway.
Beautiful.
Oh, and she fell over, didn't you? You slipped over.
Oh no.
So she would never go back. There's certain grounds she'll never go back to. Bristol Rovers and Gillingham, because Gillingham didn't have soap or anything like that in the toilets.
Gillingham genuinely is one of the... I mean, look, I have a phobia of Kent for a reason, you know. That's pretty much why. It's not very nice in general, is it?
And did you hear the little interesting comment that Steve Evans said about them having the lowest budget in League One, even worse than Accrington? How did he say that? How did he keep a straight face?
I don't think we can swear on it. That's bollocks. I'll tell you why. Because if you go on Gillingham's website, their chairman has just gone and he's done a 14-page statement. By the way, get a cup of tea because it's a long one. Yeah, 14-page statement on budgets and this and that and how he's funded the club and everything. I don't understand the point of the statement, but there's a statement nonetheless. So,
well, being non-league at the moment, wasn't it? But yeah, that's another story.
Good old Paul Scally.
Cool.
Enjoy the week, guys. Enjoy the week. Enjoy the victory. Have a good one. Get some rest. Try and watch England or something like that. Watch the Faroe Islands. You know, San Marino. And enjoy. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, chaps.